Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the Take for Market Rebellion on this Tuesday morning. And again, a wild ride. But if you just look close to close, the markets didn't do a whole lot yesterday. That's pretty far from the truth. The reality is we looked out early on. The Dow started off strong, continued to be strong. Then it started to fade. And as it faded in a big way because we were up at the highs. We were in a range of about 400 plus points. When you really look at the Dow yesterday, finished the day up 16 points. Didn't sound like very much went on. There was a lot going on. And then you look over at the NASDAQ, almost a mirror image. It was trading very, very nicely early on, started to slip a little bit, didn't slip as much, and actually finished the day up about 48 points. But it was the 10-year that was the exact inverse of what we were seeing in the markets. As a matter of fact, we've been talking about the 10-year. It's been moving up a little bit. It was like 295, 296. Next thing you know, yesterday started to make a nice violent move to the upside and actually got up and over and closed over that 3 level. As a matter of fact, it was something that people had been looking at, people had been wondering about, and there it was. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, started moving to the upside, and we had a pretty big power move. I think 305 is about the highs of where we actually got to. Crude bouncing back. Crude sort of moving around. It was 120. It was 119. It pulled back a little bit. Energy did pull back just a tad, but it was still a very, very unbelievable day of movement that was going on intraday. And obviously, if you just look close to close, as I say, not a whole lot. Matter of fact, speaking of not a whole lot, we were about 10 million off of our daily average for volumes yesterday. 33 million contracts. Thank goodness for Amazon and their 20-for-1 split, because Amazon was the only stock that actually traded over 1 million contracts yesterday. 2.6 million contracts trading yesterday. Apple was number 2, and it was below 1 million. So it gives you an idea of just how kind of slow things really were in relative terms. 33 million contracts versus 42 million per day that we're averaging. That's significantly off. You got volatility trading right around 25. Been talking about that level 20 to 25. Very difficult read, and it makes things a little bit different. Maybe that's part of the reason, along with the summertime, that we are now starting to see some of those volumes just kind of cool off just a little bit. So from a sector perspective, what was really working? Consumer discretionary, very strong, up about 1%. Materials up about 1%. Technology actually fairly flat. But you look over, you see some of the financials. They were in positive territory. Energy, it closed modestly in the red, just not really even much, but it was in the red, so we'll call that out. Now, what was really working yesterday? Stanley Black & Decker, definitely one of those. Freeport McMoran had a very nice day. You had Caesars and Penn Gaming. They were pretty strong yesterday. Those Chinese names, I've been saying that it seems like day after day after day, and once again, those Chinese names, PDD, JD, Baidu, those kind of names, all having a very, very nice, productive day once again. You also had that Keurig trade, that Keurig Dr. Pepper. We talked about that, the entrance into the S&P and the fact that this thing had made a very nice move. That actually finished the day strong as well, along with some Google, along with some Amazon. Mix in a little bit of IBM. We don't talk about that name very often, but IBM started to make a nice little move to the upside. What was under pressure yesterday? We've seen a little bit more of this of late. Some of those in the biotech space specifically, it looked like Regeneron, looks like Biogen, Amgen, all in the red. Then you look over at Schwab. Schwab definitely struggled yesterday as well. Okta, some of those chip names were struggling. I look over at something like a Texas Instrument or a Microchip in the negative yesterday, and a pretty decent negative push. So that definitely stood out. Today, we come in and we get this news about Target, and certainly not very bullish news. Matter of fact, extremely bearish news because of the fact of inventories, profits going forward, the guidance that they talked about. But the guidance they talked about was for the next quarter. So in other words, they see a problem. The problem is directly in front of them, and they think they can get this resolved. As a matter of fact, when you look at what they projected for the full year, it looks like they expect to see things really bounce back. But in this quarter, inventories are wrong. They've got the wrong things. They're going to have discounts, and that is going to affect the profit margins. That news sent the markets down, and it pulled on a lot of different other parts of the market that would reflect similarly, possibly to that. Best Buy, Walmart, Costco, those kinds of names. Well, we started off in the red. Dow was down close to 300 points. The NASDAQ was down about 150 points. We have rallied off of that. We've been steadily getting better and better and better in this first hour. We were down about 40 points just 10, 15 minutes ago. I took a peek just before I came on. I actually saw the NASDAQ getting into the green. Also, I'm looking over at the Dow that was down close to 300 points. It was down 150 points, top of the hour. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, that was moving closer and closer, towards getting into the green. So that will be a very interesting thing to see as we play out the rest of the day. Remember, this is just the first hour of trade. We've got a little volatility there. Got about a 26 VIX early on. We actually kind of eased off of that, 25.5 last I looked. 10 years trading right around that 3 level, but pulled back a little bit below that 3 level. Maybe that's a little bit of the helpful move as well, given a little bit of a lift. You look over at crude, getting back up towards that 120 level. Started the day about 118. Last I looked, it was 119.70, very close to 120. We'll see. Things can happen very, very quickly there. Consumer discretion. That was under pressure early on. Tesla, Amazon, throw in something like a Target. The staples under pressure early on as well. Names like Walmart, Costco. Those are the names that we were just talking about. Well, those effects are happening. Industrials, little bit of pressure as well. Names like 3M, names like Caterpillar, Honeywell, all those names in the red early on. Materials also, but energy early on was pretty strong. It wasn't running fast. Now it is. Now it's up well over 1%. Early on, up a little over 0.5%. But you look at some of those names, APA, Marathon Oil, Exxon having a terrific day. You look across the energy space, you see some very, very nice strength. So within the markets and what was working even early on, even with the markets pushing down, JM Smucker, one of those names. Exxon, as I mentioned, one of those names. I look over at Moderna, I look at J&J, I look at Merck, all performing very, very nicely early on. Chinese names, again, PDD, JD, Baidu, in a strong move to the upside once again. Take a look at what's influencing maybe the NASDAQ. There are certain areas that certainly are contributing right now. Obviously negative, you're going to start off with Target, definitely under pressure. Whirlpool under pressure. Best Buy, Home Depot, TJ Maxx, Ross Stores. Micron, a little bit of pressure early on as well, along with CSX. So you're seeing a little bit about how things are playing out. Now, how do you trade these crazy markets? We talk about it each and every day. We get these momentums, this move to the upside, this move to the downside. Today at the close, that's how you do it. AJ Monty and myself getting together, talking about how do you trade within these markets? How do you catch some of what's going on in this crazy choppy markets that we've got? Well, he's got technical analysis. I've got the options world. Two of us will be meeting together right at the close. You can sign up for that. All you've got to do is go to Market Rebellion. Oh, and if you can't make it today and watch it live, that will be sent to you as well. But you've got to sign up. We'll be doing that right at the market close today. Look forward to seeing you then. Before we go, I will be jumping on real quick to talk about some things on the halftime report, so you'll see me then. But before that, I got a couple of unusual for you. ChargePoint. This is a name that was hitting last week every single day. Just monstrous paper flying into this name. Stock has reacted very, very nicely to that option paper as well. So today, stock's now trading not too far from 15. It was 1460. 12,700 of the July 15 calls were getting bought. Those are going for about $1.50 or $1.60. They are rolling these calls up from the 14 strike to the 15 strike, wanting to be in the trade, taking some money off the table, but still wanting to be in the trade. And they are in that trade with some nice sizable trades within that. So that one definitely stood out early on. Sticking in the energy space, how about ExxonMobil? Trading right about 101. Yep, Exxon is back over $100. So it's 101. We got 6,100 of the June 10th. Yep, that's coming up very quickly. That's this weekend. June 10th, the 100 calls. So now that the stock has moved there, these are at the money or just in the money calls. $1.25 up to $2. Somebody wants a little bit of leverage. 6,100 of these are trading, looking for Exxon to maybe continue this move to the upside, getting a little bit more delta by being right at the money or just in the money, getting a little more delta. It's going to move a little closer towards how the stock moves as opposed to the out of the money calls. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, get educated. We got great people here at Market Rebellion. You can read books, go online, understand the derivatives markets. It's a great place to be. Folks, have a great day of trading. I'll see you on halftime.